Destiny King's Fall, one of the most iconic raids in the game. I'm pretty sure it is the most iconic raid in the game. Alta Glass may have been the first, Crota's End may have been a dungeon, but King's Fall is what made Destiny so popular, and a big factor of that is the Taken King expansion. Released all the way back in September of 2015, oh my god, I'm old. King's Fall was so hyped up that I literally thought it was like a whole new game. I thought it was the sequel to Destiny, but no, it was just a $40 expansion. And with a new expansion comes a new raid. Bungie has been doing this format since forever ago. And finally, after 10 years, 10 plus years actually, 10 years and 2 months I'm pretty sure, I finally completed the King's Fall raid. Yes, thank you. You can relax with the applause. Why didn't I complete it sooner? Well, it's very simple. My friends hate this game because they have no taste. Destiny 2 is a good game once you get past all the you know what I mean? Now, King's Fall wasn't the first raid I did. This was the first year I have completed raid, yes, because again, I have 0 friends. But when I finally did King's Fall, I told myself, bruh, I gotta make a video about this. This is too epic to not talk about. So ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce to you an awful guide to Destiny King's Fall. But before we get on with the raid, a quick recap. As I said earlier, Destiny the Taken King expansion came out in September of 2015. And the Taken King expansion will forever be immortalized with this photo of SS Sniper Wolf. I mean, look at the shirt bro is wearing, bro. Come on now. Destiny players get all the we've been known this. This is the first major expansion where Destiny felt like it had a genuine story to tell. The Taken King technically dates all the way back to Destiny's first expansion, The Dark Below. The raid for that one, Crota's End, properly titled and also spoils what happens at the end of it, is about us going into the hellmouth of the moon. I think that's what the location was called, don't quote me on that. And as we travel through the Dark Below, no pun intended, we meet Crota, aka the, like, most piss easy boss in a raid, bro. How much of a do you have to be to get soloed by one guardian a week after the raid comes out, bro? Come on now. Many players didn't like this raid, and I'll get more to it when I make my Crota's End video. God knows that I still haven't done that raid yet, bro. Why is it every time as an LFG I go to Fireteam Finder and the only listings for Crota's End are people like halfway through the raid already? I don't get it. But anyways, we kill Crota, who is known as the Prince of Darkness and has the title of Son of Crota. Wait, and who is known as the Son of Oryx. After we do that, we then go do some stuff with the House of Wolves, and we also meet our Woken mommy, Queen Marisov. I'll take 10 of her bathwater, please. We then finally get the Taken King expansion. Oryx is pissed, rightfully so. We killed his son on the moon, and he's kind of not too happy about that. So, on the Rings of Saturn, he brings a ship, Marisov and the Awoken attack him, and then he sends out this giant blast that just destroys our whole fleet. Then back at the Vanguard, Zavala, Ikora, and Cade are arguing about what we have to do. Then in comes in Eris Morn, aka one of the coldest characters in the series. Listen, I don't know how deep rooted her beef is with the entire Oryx family tree, but goddamn does she hate every single one of them. I get that Crota killed her whole fire team and, you know, took away her eyesight, and now she has 3 eyes.
I want you to handle it.
But bro, we just can't stop like eliminating that bloodline, can we? So after we do a couple things, we then finally eliminate the Taken version of Oryx, and then Eris Morn touches this rock that turns into a sword, and we can do an exotic quest back in the campaign. That is essentially the Taken King in a nutshell. It's a pretty cool campaign. Again, it was pretty revolutionary for the time, considering Bungie actually had a cohesive story to tell us, and this just hyped the community more. Because guess what? Now we gotta finally kill Oryx. And guess what raid we're doing that in? King's Fall. Now that's the recap. I could actually give you a guide to the raid. Disclaimer, don't use this as a legitimate guide. This is like a nutshell. This is supposed to be satire. I am giving you information that you can technically use to complete the raid, but there are plenty of other YouTubers out there who can give you a better guide than me. Like, I'm not even gonna lie to you, I already forgot like half the steps in the encounters. Like, you can't trust me, but you can trust me to almost make you laugh. Not completely, almost. So yeah, take that as your warning, but if you do somehow complete this raid on your first clear using this guide, and I've transcended humanity and have reached Argartha, and I will see you guys there. Now, when you're talking about Destiny raids, it's essentially like gambling. The best way I can compare Destiny is like playing craps. It's challenging to learn, but once you get the hang of it, you cannot stop playing it. Is that an addiction? No, it's a hobby.
No, I enjoy it. It's a hobby.
The first encounter is super easy. Essentially, there's going to be 3 lanes you go down. the center hallway, which you are going to use to deposit the orbs, and then you have 2 other branching areas. Both those areas are going to have orbs that you need to collect. Once you collected a certain amount of orbs, I believe it's 4 for each side. See what I mean when I told you don't use this as a guide? I don't know. But once you collected the 4 for each side, then a portal is going to open at that shrine. How do you get the orbs? It's really simple. They're going to spawn and you collect them. The more you collect, the deeper you're going to have to go in that lane. Now, you are supposed to have a runner and a shooter role. What does this mean? Well, the shooter essentially embodies King Von, and you're going to have to add clear O block like crazy.
They not going to play with me, bro, because I'm not going to play. And I don't got nothing to lose. I don't got no family. I don't got no kids.
While the runner simply takes the orb and dunks it into the statue. And I'm pretty sure you do have to deposit it at the same time as the other player is doing it as well. Now, in the footage you're seeing, as the shooter, you're gonna have to shoot this taken blight that's covering the door. If you don't shoot that, your runner is not gonna be able to go through it. But this LFG group that I was in, shout out with them for giving me my first clear, by the way. But as the shooter, you're just supposed to shoot the taken blight. That's what I was doing. But they weren't running through there. They essentially found their own route. They're going back to like the middle area where the shrine is, where you used to teleport to the other part of the ship. It's a really simple encounter. It's almost impossible to mess up, and it's also almost impossible to die in. Like, you gotta be actually so trash at this game to die in it. Anyways, after that's done, you then go through the portal and you collect your first chest. And congratulations, you've completed your first encounter on King's Fall. Now, before we go to our next encounter, we have probably one of the most frustrating moments to get through as a fire team in any raid. And that is, of course, the jumping puzzle. I say this not only for King's Fall, but for other ones. Jumping puzzles are not too difficult. In fact, they're pretty easy to get through, especially me. I'm a Titan main, meaning I put on Line Rampant and I just let the no-skill work for me. But then you have the Hunters and Warlocks who just can't jump to save their lives, bro. Especially on this one. The LFG group I was in waited a good 12 minutes. There's going to be a bunch of ships flying and all going through different directions. And you can't stay on the same ship because it'll eventually just disappear. So what do? You have to jump on the next ship and then you have to pay attention to where it's going. Now, for this next part, once everybody is done doing the jumping puzzle, then you're going to have this hive ship that needs to go into this archway. Problem is, the archway is locked. There are 2 plates that each guardian needs to step on. So that means 2 are going to have to stay back, the rest of the team is going to have to go through it, and then there's going to be 2 plates on that side that 2 guardians are going to have to stay on, and then those 2 players that were left behind can get back on there, and we can continue moving. Now we have the totems encounter, which can go 2 ways, really smoothly, or you're going to die in the bubble because your runner is not going there fast enough. Happened to me way too many times. The encounter is super easy. There's just 3 areas you need to focus on. The middle, which is that circle which you deposit the totems in. Then the balconies, where the wizard spawns, and then the blight guard spawns, where then you pick up the blight. And you have to run into the room where the first player should be. You swap buffs, you go into the bubble, you start ad clearing until you see this buff continue to grow. You rinse and repeat. It's that simple. It's just a constant switching of positions. Even if the goddamn runner isn't stealing my brand in time so I could go back and deposit my totems, but whatever. Once you deposit a certain amount of totems, then you can collect your chests and then move on to the next encounter.
Yeah, y'all see it? See the spaghetti? You eat that motherfucker. Oh, shit! Whoa, what?
Oh boy. The War Priest encounter. If there's one part of this raid that I will always hate doing in an LFG group is reading symbols. 1, because half my fire team left, so we have to sit in Fire Team Finder and get 3 other people in here. If you are using this as a guide, you gotta trust me on this when I say, click off this video, go watch a legit guide, come back and then finish this one. If you aren't using this as a guide and just watching it for Destiny content in the Big 25, because there are still a lot of us who play this game, you're more than welcome to stay and attempt my synopsis of this. Because, I mean, bro, you are gonna, if you've done this raid, you are going to hate me for butchering it like this. And the way you start this is you have to go into the middle plate, step on, step off, and then you will begin the encounter and the War Priest will spawn. After you do that and kill the wizards, then you start reading the symbols. So the center player goes in and then looks on the left or right side, and then whether that statue in the back is lighting up, then they tell the other player to stand on it. Then once that player stands on it, then the last player stands on it, and then they're going to get this red bubble around them. Now this red bubble is going to be how you will damage the War Priest. If you're not a plate reader, just go to where you guys would have already talked about, you know, doing the damage, and then just stay there until the guy with the bubble gets there. Once he gets there, then 2 blight guards are going to spawn. The first one is going to spawn left, right, or middle, depending on who had the buff first. Take, for example, if the guy in the middle had the buff first, then the left and right plate readers are going to have to stand back, and then they're going to have to kill the guard. Now, they are not going to spawn at the same time, so Whoever gets it first gets the buff to steal the brand, and then they go to where you guys are doing DPS, take it off the first guy to extend the damage phase. Does that make sense? No? Good, because this is the most confusing encounter of the whole raid, easily, without a doubt. I hate this encounter so much. Doing damage to the boss, not so much. I love my damage phases. It's the reason I play a raid. Damage check, I live for them. But the setup to this is just so bullshit. You have so much stuff to keep track of. If you're doing this with an LFG group, God help you, because you are going to be there for a while. Now, if you don't one phase the War Priest, which don't beat yourself too much about it because this is tanky as hell, then he's going to essentially begin nuking himself. How do you survive this? You just go behind one of the pillars, stay there until it's done, that pillar will disappear, and then you rinse and repeat the whole cycle. It's fine though. You get your loot and you piss off. It's that simple.
I'm about to make a horrible mistake.
This next encounter I can only describe as piss easy. It's the easiest thing in the world. Doesn't matter if you're the one doing damage or if you're the one distracting the ogre. Everything about this screams anyone can do it. There are two roles you just need to worry about: the damagers and the distractors. Double D's. Once the encounter starts, everyone who's damaging goes all the way to the back ass area of the room. You're going to start ad clearing. Once you cleared enough ads or something, then you go back to the beginning, and there's going to be 6 blight orbs that spawn on the ceiling. This is your ticket to damaging the boss. You think it's that simple, right? That's because it is. What do the distractors do? Well, there's going to be this crit spot on the back of bro's head, and you just get his gaze on you. Then the distractor does it again while everybody else does DPS. People who are doing DPS pay close attention. You're going to get this buff that is essentially a vest. What do you do with this? You go up to the ogre, you hug his, like, just literally hug the damn thing. He'll get exploded, he'll get blown up, whatever you want to call it, and then you go back and do DPS with the rest of your team, and then another person will get the buff, rinse and repeat. Sounds simple, right? Because it is. Like, I seriously don't understand how you get wiped in this encounter. Like, if everybody knows what they're doing, and hell, even if you don't know what you're doing, I'm pretty sure it's almost impossible to, like, fail this. And the only time anyone really died out of us was when they forgot they had the buff. And even then, you could see it on the top of your screen. At one point, I thought I died with it and I didn't see it, but no, it turns out I was actually smart enough to, you know, read it. Can we just take a break and admire this boss entrance, man? Oh my god, the way it just climbs up out of that pool of swamp water, whatever that is just so sick. But once you kill him, then we go to everybody's favorite section. That's right, jumping puzzle. And this one is a bitch. Your biggest enemy in this jumping puzzle is going to be these things that jump out and shoot you. Like right here, I almost made it to the ledge I needed to, and then it just popped up out of nowhere. Again, I have line rampant on to give me the 0 skill that I need, and I still somehow failed this. Why? Because I'm just such a good Destiny player. I just love to humble myself sometimes. Anyways, you climb up this pillar, and then we go to the final room. This is where the last 2 encounters are going to be. First of all, we have the Daughters of Oryx encounter, where there's going to be these 2 witches in their bubble, and the big thing you need to focus on is stepping on plates and keeping track of who is the taken person. Essentially, as the taken person, you're going to see these platforms you could jump on. You jump on those platforms, you pick up the orb at the top, and then you have, and this is the part where you have to really pay attention, you have to deposit that orb in the bubble of the witch that is shooting at you. If you do it at the other one, I'm pretty sure you die. I didn't want to test that out and piss off my fire team, so by all means you can try it yourself. There's going to be these 2 ledges under the bubble. You have to stand adjacent of the one that you deposited the bubble in. What does the word adjacent mean? Opposite. So you stand on the opposite ledge of where the witch is. Does that make sense? No? Then I'm doing my job and the video is living up to the hype. Then you essentially start your DPS phase on the witch, and then, you know, you kill them. It's a really easy encounter. Again, the other biggest thing you have to worry about is just stepping on the plates. But I mean, realistically, you're just stepping on the one that's glowing green. It's not that hard. Then you're also going to have this 2-minute debuff above you called Dirge of Unraveling. I don't know what it does, didn't want to test what it does. I'm pretty sure it was important to the encounter. Wasn't really paying attention. The guy who had the most experience out of all of us, I think he missed explaining this. I don't know though. Now once you defeat the witches, you then get your loot, and then we move on to the final encounter. This is why everybody plays this raid, without a doubt. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, I'm talking about the Oryx boss fight. Oryx's entrance is so iconic. It's just such a perfect moment. There are only a few moments I would describe as perfect in a raid, and this is definitely one of them. And his title, the Taken King. Oh my god, I love it. I love it. I love it. This is, dude, this is such a good raid. It's not my favorite raid, but it's such a good raid, dude. It builds up so much hype, bro. Oh my god. I gotta play it again. I gotta play it again. This is a very straightforward encounter. And Oryx is not really even the most complex boss. Hell, even when this raid came out, I'm pretty sure Atheon was a more complex boss than he was. Now, essentially, he's going to roam around this area of his ship, and he's going to do a hand slam on one of the plates. You just have a person stand on the plate, and someone is going to become taken. That person, again, just like the witch encounters, that person is just going to go up there and collect the orb. I don't think they have to do anything after that, they just collect it. In this part of the game, I don't know if I failed the encounter or not, like it just goes away. Once you pick up the orb, you just go back to normal. Then there's going to be 4 of these Taken Blight areas. If you are a person standing on the plate, you have to worry about this. And you have to go into these bubbles at the same time. If you go in it at separate times, you will die and you will wipe your entire team. And the person with the buff shooting the guy in the bubble destroys the knight. Then you go into DPS phase so long as you are in this bubble. My team was running Queen Breaker's bow, and it was just chunking him, man. You were just molesting Oryx. Now, after that first DPS phase, he's going to put this bubble in front of him. One person is going to go in there, and they're going to have to, like, do something. I don't know. I wasn't the guy who went in there. But then once the whole fire team is in here, then we have to destroy the Taken version of Oryx. Very simple encounter. Nothing really too crazy. You're literally just damaging him. It's essentially like a strike boss, pretty much. That's the best way to look at it. Now, obviously, you stand on the plates again, but this time, ogres are going to appear. You have to kill these ogres who are going to drop the Taken Blight, and then you go in at the same time, and then you go into the final DPS phase. Well, for us, at least. It could be more for you, depending on how trash your loadout is. Now, we essentially got him down to the lowest we could get him before he goes into his last stand mechanic. What is last stand? It's really simple. It's the boss throwing everything he has at you for one last attack to potentially wipe your team and just be a complete prick. Oryx was the first to patent this idea, then once that patent expired, then all other raid bosses seemingly followed with it. Now what we did, we just set up a bunch of Titan barricades because we are the best class in the game, and then we just started DPSing his hole. Wow, that sounded really weird. Now I ran out of ammo, and, you know, you may be asking, Elvin, why didn't you ult this whole time? And to that I say, I have Thunder Crash. And this is what happens. I did this for purely educational purposes. Anyways, we kill him, and then Oryx's body just starts floating across Saturn. And if you are lucky enough, you will get the exotic for this raid, the Touch of Malice. One of the coolest looking scout rifles, but one that was considered kind of trash in Destiny 1 from what I hear. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is King's Fall. This raid may not be the most complex. It may not be one of the best raids, but it is certainly one of the most iconic raids. For the longest time, I wanted to do this. I've been playing Destiny since September of 2017. I didn't buy Destiny 2 first. Before I bought that, I wanted to learn about the first game more, so I bought Destiny 1 first before I moved on to D2. And when I played the Taken King expansion, I loved it. It is still to this day my favorite expansion for the game. It just offered so much content, especially the different subclasses. And it is just, I had so many great memories with it. But one of my biggest regrets will always be not doing King's Fall in Destiny 1. I didn't have friends who played this game. To this day, my friends still hate this game, even though they like never played it. But to me, Destiny will always have a special place in my heart. It'll always forever be my looter shooter. When I finished the raid and returned to orbit, I almost started crying. Because I'm not kidding you here. I'm being dead serious. When I went to orbit, this started playing. Hearing Remembrance after defeating Oryx and just watching Saturn behind you while you're in orbit is just, it was such a perfect moment. Bungie, you sons of bitches, you wrote that script just for me. Just for, I can't prove it, but they wrote that just for me. Anyways, that was an awful guide to King's Fall. It's one of the most iconic raids in the game. Also, a side note, first time this ever happened to me in a raid. This is my 4th raid I did, by the way. First time this ever happened to me, and I'm pretty sure first time it ever happened in history. I got the full War Newman's armor set in this raid. I got every armor piece from each encounter. I'm almost certain that's the first time this ever happened in history. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Expect more raid videos in the future as well. course, the awful guide videos to raids. And yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Peace out. Bye. Oh, but wait, one more thing. I forgot to add. Did you guys know Oryx is technically the first and only transgender boss in the game? Yeah, apparently he started off as a witch, and then he killed someone, and then he turned into a dude, and then as that dude he killed someone and then became the Taken King. So yeah, we just killed a transgender boss. Wow, that's really progressive of you, Bungie.